What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We have a nice Friday night 4-game college football slate. This is to prepare us for the weekend. Huge college football slate for tomorrow on Saturday, obviously. And then we got NFL Sunday followed by that. Then we got Monday Night Football and then NBA. So NBA is right around the corner, guys. Looking at our free picks from yesterday, we ended up 3-1 yesterday. We actually had 4-1 yesterday. We actually almost ended up with a sweep. And I'm going to show you guys some stuff. So the only play that I posted yesterday, only prop that I posted that missed was our man DK Metcalf. So Metcalf fantasy ended up chalking us. I had him at 13. He ended up with like 9 or something like that. But he had 6.5 in the first quarter. I thought he was going to be the free prop of the day. Unfortunately, after his first 2 targets in the first quarter, he really didn't get very many looks. The 2 looks that he got was some deep passes that ended up being interceptions thrown. So ended up hurting Metcalf a lot on those. But looking at our free picks, obviously, we had ladder challenge day 1. We had the Bengals plus 12.5 and then the over on the total in this game, which was absolutely free. That slip was easy. So today's ladder challenge will be posted on TikTok and Instagram. So go follow us on those 2 platforms if you guys want to get ladder day 2, which will be $171.43 put on that slip. We ended up posting this yesterday, a $50 40% profit boost with Flacco, Boswell, Metcalf, and McPherson. That one ended up cashing. We ended up sweeping the board on chalkboard. Posted 2 slips on chalkboard. Both of them cashed. This nice little ECU quarterback play with Joe Flacco and Metcalf. I can go through all these. Obviously, you guys probably don't want to see all that. We did end up locking these 2 in live on video yesterday, or this one at least. Rodgers, Flacco, and Chase Brown. And I told you guys I thought Chase Brown was going to have a great game yesterday. He did, man. Chase Brown with 106 rushing yards yesterday, which was killer on that. And he ended up cashing us. I think actually he may have had more than that. This is before the game ended, but that cashed us out. Some more slips, both on underdog, sleeper, chalkboard, and then obviously we had, or not obviously, but we ended up having a $500 play that I put on underdog. Underdog allows us to bet on actual teams and spreads now. So I did put this just for fun last night. I put Cincinnati plus 7.5, and it cashed us $4.99 to win 806. So if you guys do want to get all of our plays, link to our WAP is down in the description. $25 a month. You get every single slip that I post. We'd love to have you in the Discord. The Discord is free to join. Join the Discord if you haven't already. There's a link down in the description. If you guys join our Discord, I am giving away 1 free prop on every NFL Sunday. So you guys get an extra Discord exclusive free slip. That being said, guys, let's go ahead and pick our winner from yesterday's video to get a free month of VIP. If this video gets 250 likes, I will select 1 random comment down below to win a free month. So make sure you guys drop a comment, leave a like on the video, and let's go ahead and pick our winner from yesterday. So the winner is going to be for, drum roll if it'll load. All right, this is a long drum roll, boys. Really, man? Is that really not going to work? All right, so we are going to refresh, and for some reason, guys, my internet has been extremely slow this morning. I don't know if it's actually my internet or if it's some of these websites that I use, but we're going to do this. Maybe we're not going to do that. The comment shark won't even load now. Cool. So we might have to come back to this. I'll hit refresh one more time, see what happens. Maybe I'll reopen comment shark. Okay, so it loaded. Pick a random comment. Can we actually get a comment to select this time? So Dope26 put nice with the @ sign. So Dope26, send me a message on Discord, my friend. I will get you added for that free month of VIP. Appreciate the love and support. Appreciate the comment. And yeah, you got yourself a free month. Just send me a message, Ryan Fantasy Aces, on Discord, and we'll get you guys added. So let's take a look at these 4 games today, guys. So we got Louisville taking on Miami. Going to be a good game. We got Nebraska versus Minnesota, another good game. San Jose State taking on Utah State, which this is probably my least favorite game on the slate, but it's honestly not bad for player props. The total in this game is sitting at 61.5. The only problem about this game right now is I haven't seen 1 San Jose State player on the board, so maybe by the time I upload this video, they'll be posted. But as of right now, you can't get anything from the San Jose State side of things. Looking at the last game of the slate, we have North Carolina taking on California in California. So we got 3 good games and then 1 potential shootout game, which from two smaller schools. Probably going to be a little bit more sloppy, but we'll see what happens. So taking a look at the best game on the slate right now, we got Louisville taking on Miami. Looking at this game, we got Miami, who is minus 499 favorites at home. They're minus 13.5 on the spread, and the total in this game is sitting at 50.5. Public betting, 89% of the money is on Miami. 71% of the money on Miami to cover the spread, and then 60% of the money is under on the total of this game. So, like I said, this is probably the best game on the slate. Louisville sitting 4-1 on the season. Miami 5-0, ranked number 2 right now. Miami has been a powerhouse the last few years, and this year is no different. Miami just coming off a victory versus Florida State in Florida State. It was a 28-22 victory. Pretty dang close game. They beat Florida the game before that, beat USF the game before that. They are definitely the champions of Florida so far this season. Beat Notre Dame in the opening game on the season. Taking a look at Louisville. Louisville just come off a loss versus Virginia, which was 30-27. So that was a tough loss for Louisville. A shootout game. The game before that, they barely beat Pittsburgh 34-27. This is one of those games where I think Louisville has potential to keep this game close. But I also could see Louisville getting smacked around too, and it really just depends on which Louisville team shows up. So Louisville's looked pretty strong offensively. Defensively, they've given up quite a bit of stats. If you come over here and you look at Louisville, their offense versus Miami's defense, Louisville is averaging 404 yards per game on offense, 115 of those being rushing yards and 289 being passing yards. So they're definitely a pass-heavy offense right now. I'm looking at the defense for Miami. They're giving up 276 yards on defense, 87 rushing yards, and then 189 passing yards. Miami's defense has looked pretty dang good. Now, that being said, Miami hasn't given up a lot of points. They just gave up 22 points to Florida State. Florida State's offense isn't spectacular by any means. I mean, they've been a little bit explosive. Castellanos is a very good quarterback. But other than that, man, 22 points given up by Florida State, 7 from Florida, 12 from USF, 24 from Notre Dame. They haven't given up a ton of points. Their defense has been pretty good. Now, look on the other side of things. If you look at Miami's offense, they're averaging 425 yards per game on offense, which is 161 rushing yards per game, and 264 pass yards. Looking at this Louisville defense, on paper, Louisville's defense has looked pretty dang good. They're giving up 262 yards total, 111 being rushing yards, then only 150 passing yards per game so far this season. Now, looking at some of the teams they played against, it hasn't been too competitive. If you look at points allowed by these teams, Miami is getting 35 points per game on offense on that per game average on offense, and then Louisville is giving up 21 points per game on defense. On the other side of things, you can look and see that Louisville is getting 36 points per game on offense, and Miami gives up around 14. Now, for this game, what do I like? If I had to pick a winner, obviously I'm going to take Miami. I think Miami is definitely the better team here. They got way more talent, and they're actually playing for something, man. Ranked 2 right now, 5-0. Looking at the total in this game at 50.5. If I was going to play a teaser play on this game, my teaser play would either be Miami minus 5.5 or the over 42.5 for an 8-point teaser. That's what I would take. I could see Louisville 21.5 plus 21.5 being a good play as well. But like I said, it really depends on which Louisville team shows up. I don't think they get beat by 20, but 13.5 maybe. I don't know, man. It's tough. I think Miami wins by a touchdown for sure. Total in this game, 42.5. I like that a lot. I do see this game going over. If you come over here and you click the total and we bring this down to 42.5, you can see pretty much every single game for both teams this season. 90% of games for Louisville's been over. Then 90% of games for Miami has been over in the last, it's the last 10 games. So that's not even just from this season. If you look from this season, it is, yes, that one game for Louisville did go under. So anyways, like that for this game. I think it's a good play. And if you guys do want to lock it in, hopefully I remember to cut that out. Last time I did not remember to cut out the sneeze. Excuse me. That being said, that's what I like for this game, the total over 42.5, if you decided you did want to play it. I'm looking at game 2. We got Nebraska taking on Minnesota. This is another game that is actually going to be pretty competitive in my opinion. Minnesota's sitting plus 244 underdogs right now at home, plus 7.5 on the favorites, and the total in this game sitting at 47.5. Public betting has this 72% of the money on Nebraska, 65% of the money on Minnesota with the spread, and then 74% of the money on the over on this total. So taking a look at these two teams as well. Cornhuskers so far are 5-1, and then the Golden Gophers are 5-2. So both teams looking pretty good. Minnesota has lost to California. Cornhuskers haven't played California. They just come off a win versus Purdue. They lost to Ohio State, which is an obvious loss in my opinion. They did get smacked, though, 42-3, so they got whooped in that game. Looking at Nebraska, Nebraska's only losses to Michigan in a close game, 30-27. All right, so without diving too deep into this game, me personally, I think Nebraska's the better team. I think Minnesota can keep this game close. So if I had to pick a teaser for this, I'd either take a 7-point teaser for Minnesota, and I do 7 points on this one because I like the 7-point teaser better because 7 works perfectly for the spread on this. So you can take either Nebraska minus 0.5, which is Nebraska money line, or you can take Minnesota plus 14.5, which means they're getting 2 touchdowns. So I think that's going to be your best bet on a teaser, in my opinion, for this game. You could maybe argue a total on this too, over 40.5 or under 54.5, depending on what you want. This game is majority of people see this game going over. I can see it going either way. I mean, this game to me is coin flip on whether it's defensive or whether they end up having a shootout. So I think Minnesota's defense is a little bit better than some credit's given. You can't come over here and look at their defense. They're giving up 108 rushing yards per game and 200 passing yards, which isn't amazing, but they've gone against a few decent teams offensively. I'm not going to dive into this too much. I kind of gave you guys what I thought was the best play on this one for a teaser. So if you guys want to make your own slips, then Nebraska minus 7.5 or Minnesota plus 14.5 is a good teaser in my opinion. My favorite's probably Minnesota plus 14.5 because I could potentially see a Minnesota upset. So I think the 2 touchdowns for Minnesota is a really good play, and I don't think they get beat by 2 TDs. So either one of those though I could see an argument for. I'm going to pass over to San Jose State game just because I'm not going to be touching it in any type of sportsbook bet. So we're going to fade this one. And then the last game we have is going to be North Carolina versus California. So looking at California, they're minus 305 favorites, minus 8.5 on the spread, and the total in this game is sitting at 47.5. Public betting has 76% of the money on California money line. You have 69% of the money on California to cover an 8.5-point spread, and then 61% of the money under 47.5 total. So on this game, you can see North Carolina's looked bad this game, man. I've watched North Carolina play a few games. I watched them versus TCU in the opening game of the season. I watched them play against Clemson last week. They do not look good, man. North Carolina has not looked good at all. California hasn't looked amazing, but they haven't looked bad either. They beat Minnesota. They got beat 34-0 to San Diego State, which is the one game that worries me slightly for California. If this game wasn't there, I would have California for sure, and I would feel much more confident with them. But seeing them getting beat that bad by San Diego State is pretty tough to see. They beat Boston College 28-24, and then like they did, Duke just beat them 45-21. So they have not looked very good. I'm not gonna lie. Golden Bears have not been super strong either. I still think they're better than North Carolina. So let's take a look at these two teams. North Carolina's offense is averaging 264 yards per game on offense, which is the 133 ranked offense, which is literally one of the worst in the league. They're getting 102 rushing yards and then 162 passing yards. So they struggle to move the ball regardless. If you look at California's defense, they're giving up 123 rushing yards and 206 passing yards. So they got almost top 50 in terms of defense together or separately. And then their overall defense is ranked 42nd, which isn't amazing. It's not great, but it's not bad either considering some of the teams they played. Now, I mean, their schedule hasn't been incredibly hard or anything like that, but still decent. Looking at the other side of things, you got California getting 352 yards per game on offense, 96 of those being rushing yards, and 255 passing yards. So they've been throwing the ball. They've been slinging pretty good. Versus North Carolina, North Carolina gives up 127 rushing yards per game and then 250 passing yards. North Carolina has a bottom 20 pass defense in the nation, so giving up 250 yards per game. I see California having some success through the air. Honestly, I see California being able to move the ball on the ground as well. I think this is a game where California's got to be who I roll with. If I had to pick a play for this, I'd either take I think the only one I would take would be California minus 0.5. I don't trust North Carolina even at plus 16. North Carolina's looked horrendous. I think they could definitely cover plus 16.5. Don't get me wrong on that. But for me, the most comfortable one would be California minus 0.5, which is the same thing as California money line. So if you want to play a teaser, this is going to be a hint, hint, wink, wink. Maybe California minus 0.5 with the over on the Miami-Louisville Hurricanes. The Miami-Louisville game total over 42.5. So 42.5 and then minus 0.5. Maybe a good teaser, or maybe Nebraska minus 0.5 or Minnesota plus 14.5. If you want to play those, hint, hint, wink, wink for the ladder challenge. One of those is probably going to be what you see on the TikTok video. So make sure you guys go check it out. If you guys do want to get ladder day 2, it'll be $171.43 to win almost $300. So that being said, guys, we're about to jump into some player props for today. You actually get some slips locked in. I know a lot of people hate when I talk about the games, but for me, talking about these games helps because it helps me put into perspective why I like some player props. So if you look at a team that's giving up 300 passing yards per game, and you go to the opposite team, and you're like, okay, so their offense should be able to move the ball through the air, and I end up taking a quarterback. It kind of puts that into perspective a little bit. I know we're going to look at stats here, but you guys already have in your head, like, okay, so the other team's quarterback might be a good player, the other team's running back might be a good play, or this game might be a good for game total because that team has no defense whatsoever. So that's why I like talking about these games. It gives me something to talk about, and honestly, I kind of enjoy talking about them. But that being said, if you guys do want to get a free month of our VIP, sign up to any partnered app down in the description. There's 7 apps you can choose from: Underdog, Parlay Play, Chalkboard, Sleeper, Novig, Better, and Dabble. Any of those 7 apps will get you a free month of our VIP. You can get up to 7 full months for free if you sign up for any of those and make the minimum deposit. Just let me know on Discord. If you sign up for more than one, I'll get you obviously multiple months for free. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. All the links are down in the description. So let's talk about our first pick of the day. So the first 2 plays are going to be from the Louisville game. It's going to be a little game stack play that I ran over on Prizepicks. So the first one we're going to take is going to be for our man Miller Moss. I'm going to take the Louisville quarterback, Miller Moss, over 254.5 passing yards. So this is going to be his original line. So we're going to go ahead and click it here. Pass yards, Miller Moss, 254.5. You can get him on Parlay Play as well. Let's go ahead and pull him up here. I'm telling you, bro, this internet is so slow. Miller Moss. There we go. He's actually 249.5. You can get him right here. We'll probably play that on Parlay Play. So 1.66x. I can probably find 254. Yeah, 1.75. I'll just leave it at 250. I'm cool with that. It won't even load the player image. It's crazy, man. So, anyways, taking Miller Moss. Got him pulled up on... I thought I had him pulled up on Outlier. If I had to pause this video and start re-recording because nothing will load, I'm going to be so tilted. I'm going to be a little bit salty. This drives me crazy. All right, I was about to hit stop recording, and it finally loaded. So I apologize for the delay, guys. I don't like having to cut like multiple pieces out of a video. It just becomes very tedious. But anyways, Miller Moss over 254.5. He's cashed it in 3 of his last 5 games. He's actually cashed it in 3 straight games with over 300 passing yards in 3 games. So just had 339 versus Pittsburgh and then 329 versus Virginia in his last game. He's going against Miami. Miami, one of the stronger passing defenses in the league, giving up only 189 passing yards per game. Now, I will say Louisville doesn't look that bad. They are throwing the ball 60% of the time, running the ball 40% of the time. Explosiveness, they have it. I think that Louisville can definitely put up some points on the board. That's why I like the over on this total. I think Miller Moss for 250 passing yards really isn't that bad. I think they're going to be playing from behind. I think Miami's definitely going to be the team to beat for them. And if they come out here and put up a good fight, man, like maybe they can get something going for the rest of the season as well. So I like Louisville to put up a fight this game, like I said, have a good game, and I think 254 for Miller Moss is not that bad. Now, I will say it is a tough defense. This is going to be a tough game. 254.5 is not like a low number. You can see his first 2 games, he only had 223 and then 151, but also they won 51-17 versus Eastern Kentucky, and then the second game they ended up winning 28-14. So 2 games they didn't need to throw the ball at all, and these last 3 games, they've really just been airing it out. So Miller Moss, pick number 1, and I'm going to be locking him in. Who am I pairing Miller Moss with? I'm going to go ahead and pull up this free slip that you guys can see that I played on Prizepicks. This slip was posted last night early for VIP, so hopefully nothing has bumped. I don't think it would have. But we got for 2.25x on this, Carson Beck with Miller Moss. Carson Beck over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So we're going to come over here to pass TDs on Prizepicks. We're going to click Carson Beck. It is still a 2.25x, 100 to win you 225. That's what we have locked in already. And this is going to be the first slip of the day. So let's go ahead and pull up Carson Beck. So Carson Beck, over 1.5 pass touchdowns. He has cashed this in 4 or 5 games this season so far. He had 0 versus Florida. If you look at his last game, though, he just had 4 passing touchdowns versus Florida State. He had 3 versus USF the game before that, and then 2 prior games to that. Looking at Louisville, they have the number 1 defense, or 26th defense in terms of passing TDs allowed. They give up 1 passing touchdown per game on average, but they haven't played against very many good teams. Louisville's schedule has not been tough this year so far, and they're going against a team that will air the ball out. They are passing the ball 47% of the time, running the ball 53% of the time. But you also got to look at some of these scores. 27-24, they obviously passed the ball. 45-3, they're not running. They're not risking injuries. They're just milking the clock. 49-12, same stat thing there. Florida 26-7, same thing there. Last game was 28-22, Florida State, and we can see if it shows passing plays versus run plays. So Still 47% pass play versus Florida State. But regardless, you got around a 50-50 split. Carson Beck should be able to throw for a couple touchdowns in this game. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. And I like that play, and I'm putting my money on it to risk it, and you guys can go ahead and see that slip here. I'm going to lock it in live just so people can't say I'm faking slips or anything like that. I like to lock these in and show that I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So right here, you have another 2.47x. The payout here is so much superior to Prizepicks, and I didn't even realize it. We got the same slip, right? Miller Moss, 254.5 with Carson Beck, 1.5 pass TDs. Miller Moss, 249, so better for Miller Moss. Carson Beck, 1.5 passing TDs. It's a 2.47x. Why did I not check this last night? I'm going to be honest. I should have done that. Okay, well, anyways, we're going to lock this in definitely for value now. This is some really, really good value right now on Parlay Play. I highly recommend you guys sign up for Parlay Play just to get this slip if you plan on playing it, because another 0.25x, that's going to be a $617 payout rather than, let's go ahead and put $250 here so you can see. So it's $50 more, $53 more, $55 more, whatever, for playing it on Parlay Play. So that's locked in. Right here you can see Beck, Miller Moss, 250 to win 617, and it is locked in. That being said, we're going to jump into our second slip of the day. Let's go ahead and lock this in live as well. So the first pick is going to be for our man, Dylan Raiola. So I'm going to take the Nebraska quarterback, Dylan Raiola, a dude who's had a lot of success. He looked pretty good last season. This season so far, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how he's hit in terms of what his yardage per game average is right now. Yes, 265. He's looked good this season so far. I don't know why. Something was telling me he had been under the last couple games, and I was tripping. But anyways, he's averaging 265 passing yards per game. He's catched his line 4 of his last 6. He had 364 games so far as his peak this season, and his low has been 194. I'm going to take him at 224.5. So if you come look at Raiola on passing yards, his line is going to be 245. I am buying it down to 224.5 to get a little bit better value. I'm going to pull it up on Parlay Play just to see if they maybe have some better value as well. Dylan Raiola, 224.5 here is going to be a 1.44, and it's going to 1.5 for 230. So we're just going to take the 1.44x right here on Parlay Play. And who are we going to pair Dylan Raiola with? And beforehand, let's go ahead and talk about this first. So they're going against Minnesota. Obviously, Minnesota gives up 200 passing yards per game on offense or on defense, 48th ranked defense in the league. If you look at Nebraska, they pass the ball 55% of the time, run the ball 45% of the time. I'm pretty sure Minnesota has a pretty decent rush defense as well in terms of ranking, and I know we looked at that a minute ago. So can I find rushing yards here? I just want to show that. So rushing attempts, Emmett Johnson's. Yeah, so they have the 28th ranked rushing defense, giving up only 108 rushing yards per game. So we're looking at a team with a top 10 or a top 30 rush defense and then a top 50 pass defense. So Minnesota's defense is pretty dang good. They do typically give up more yards through the air than they do on the ground. Nebraska is a team that succeeds through the air a little bit more than they do on the ground, and I think Raiola has a good game. I think 224.5 is going to be too low. I see this game being competitive. Like I said, I could see Minnesota ending up with an upset here, but realistically, I think Nebraska is the better team, and I have Nebraska winning if I had to put my life on it, just throwing it out there. But anyways, I do like this play, 224.5 for Dylan Raiola, and I'm going to lock him in. Who are we going to pair Raiola with slip number 2? It's going to be with our man, Kendrick Raphael. So I'm taking Kendrick Raphael, the California running back, and I'm taking him to give us 50 rushing yards. 49.5. I'm buying this down from 70 to 50, playing it a little bit safe. This is going to be like a 1.8x on Prizepicks. I'm not sure what it is on Parlay Play, but we will check here in a second. So Kendrick Raphael, it's a 1.8x on Prizepicks. 250 wins you 450. If we were to take this on right here, it's going to be it won't even load, man. 1.8x on Parlay Play as well. So it's actually not any better value here. So we could look at Parlay Play's promos, see if there's anything we love here. Fletcher for 50 rush yards. Let's take a look at Fletcher. So we'll talk about Kendrick Raphael first. Let's not get carried away. He's cashed this in 3 of 6 games on the season. He's averaging 69 rush yards. He got a couple games where he has 120 rush yards. A couple games he didn't get very many. He's averaging 15 rush attempts. Now, you can see they are missing their third-string quarterback, Brandon High, which means they do have Jamal Wiley, who will be stepping up for Brandon High as a backup quarterback to Kendrick Raphael. I do think that leads to Kendrick Raphael ended up with a little bit more touches as well. So Brandon High obviously has 12.6% of the snaps L.J. Johnson is their second string running back who gets 17% of the snaps. And then Kendrick Raphael gets 51.1% of the snaps. Obviously, they have a scrambling quarterback who can run the ball as well with, I'm not even going to attempt to say his name. We'll call him Jerron Kiwi. But anyways, I do think that he has a good game tonight, so I don't think that North Carolina is going to be able to stop the run. North Carolina gives up 127 rushing yards per game on average, 48th ranked defense. I will say North Carolina's pass defense has been a lot worse, but you have to look at the teams that North Carolina's played against. They played against some air-heavy teams. They played against Clemson. They played against TCU in the opening game. They played against a lot of teams that can air the ball out. So this rushing defense, I don't think it's as good as it looks on paper. I'm just throwing it out there. I think that Kendrick Raphael has a good game. I can see California running or throwing the ball all over North Carolina. So that's why I'm going to lock that in. That being said, we were going to pull up a third pick over here. I think it was Fletcher to see if this gives us what kind of payout does this give us? It's not going to change. I swear parlay play is, I don't even think it's parlay play. I think it's my internet. I'm going to refresh this, and we're going to lock this in again. And I apologize for this, guys, because it's frustrating for me, if you can imagine. So we're going to lock in Fletcher, Rayola, 224.5, and then Kendrick at 49.5. And the payout in this is a 2.5x. Is it still a 1.8x with those two? Yes. All right, so promo. Raphael, 2.58x, 250 to win 645. And we're going to make sure we like Fletcher first. So let's pull Fletcher up. Mark Fletcher, the Miami running back. We've already looked at the defense from Louisville. They're going to struggle to stop the run as well. Miami runs the ball a lot. And we're getting Fletcher at what is that, 39.5 or 49.5? 49.5 rushing yards. So over 49.5. And you can see he's cashed this game in 4 or 5 games on the season. He's averaging 86 rushing yards per game. Going against Louisville, who has the 31st ranked rushing defense, giving up only 111.6 rushing yards per game. They do run the ball 53% of the time. So Miami has actually been running the ball more than they've been throwing the ball, which you guys can see. But regardless, I think Fletcher could be a good play off at 50. 50 is a pretty low number considering his original line is 70. You're getting a pretty good discount here, and I'm willing to risk this for a better payout. So I'll probably play the regular line on Prizepicks, take my 1.8x, and then I'll throw this in on parlay play, put 250 to win 645. So let's lock it in. That's going to be slip number 2, and both slips, if you want to tell them on parlay play, are here. We got Carson Beck over pass touchdowns with Miller Moss pass yards for a nice payout on parlay play, and then you got Fletcher, Raphael, and Rayola over here, 250 to win 645. So we have a $1,262 payout total with a $500 risk, potential profit of $762 if we cash both. That's what I got for today, guys. Lock them in if you like them. Fade them if you don't. Go follow the Instagram and the TikTok to get our Latter Day 2 challenge. It will be posted here shortly. And I'll see y'all in tomorrow's video when we have some more college football.